How is Chicago trying to do this? Because it's not Silicon Valley and it's not got the cachet of New York.
It's not, but it is definitely growing as far as the tech community goes. We have a number of new accelerators, co-working spaces that are cropping up, even events where startups are launching live. And then we're seeing a lot of venture capital and angel capital, funding rather, go into businesses over there. Such a big increase from 2010 to 2011. We saw a 40% increase in deals, in venture capital deals. We saw about a 30% increase in venture capital funding going to startups in Chicago. And then, like I said, you have all these accelerators and co-working spaces specifically for technology startups.
Well, but Sarah, in terms of, yes, the growth has been impressive, but in terms of raw dollar amounts, we're still talking about a pretty minuscule amount compared with, doesn't Silicon Valley just want to pat little Chicago on the head and say, that's so cute, go back to a Bears game?
No, it's definitely true that it's nowhere near the level of Silicon Valley or even New York. But considering the fact that we have seen such a big increase, like in Silicon Valley, the year-over-year increase wasn't nearly as significant. So you have to give us some attention, some respect for the fact that it has seen a big increase in a short period of time, and that a number of folks really are making an effort to brew that scene out there, to help encourage talent to come there and give them the resources they need to grow businesses. So yes, it's not Silicon Valley by any means, but
And they do start with an inherent disadvantage, don't they? The weather. It's a bit chilly, right? This is not like this is not California weather.
Not this year, though.
But in general, that's not an appealing thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, I went to college in Chicago in 1950, and I just last week finally threw away my parka because I was still cold.
Right, you don't have the beach nearby like you do out west or even out here in New York. It's not the same, but there are some great things about Chicago. A number of wonderful restaurants and landmarks and things like that. So,
and they've got some tall buildings. They've got some tall buildings, which is cool. And they've got some sports there. We realize that. And they've got great universities.
Exactly, and a very supportive business community and local government. So, each state has their own as far as where they live, but it's definitely an area that's attracted a lot of startups, and we know there's been a lot of success there with Groupon, Grubhub, Threadless. So it's a small community, but it is growing.
Deep dish pizza, by the way, is not pizza. It's simply not pizza.
Hey, I'm with you on that.
One of the other disadvantages that Chicago has, as your story points out, is a relative paucity of talent. It's difficult to attract the engineering community that you need to do.
It's because of the weather.
It's
got to be because of the weather, right?
I don't know how engineers feel about the weather, but there's a shortage of engineering talent everywhere. And if you're going to go for a job in Silicon Valley and say things don't work out, you got a couple more options there to turn to than you might in, say, Chicago. So it's definitely, and also the salaries in Silicon Valley are typically a lot higher for software
Is that
engineers.
really what's going on? Is it that companies are saying, we can't afford the talent in Silicon Valley, we're going to go to Chicago, there are a lot of people who want to live there for family reasons, and we can get them cheaper here? Is that really what the essence of this is?
To some extent, there is definitely a lower barrier for the folks in Chicago. They can't afford to pay as much, but for some people, that's an opportunity to maybe get a more senior position or have more clout. It's certainly one possibility. But some folks went to school there. They like it. They see the success of Groupon. They see it as something where maybe there's not as much schmoozing going on. People have their heads down. They're really focused on building a great product. Maybe they're more focused on profits than, say, social networks that don't necessarily make any money. There's many different ways of looking
She's
at
good.
it.
And she's great. She's great. Sarah Needleman. Read more on this on WSJ.com or in the paper. Thank you very much.